Cujo is one of those ideas that you can hardly believe got made into a full book. With King coming up with great concepts for short stories, somehow the simple idea of a woman trapped in a car being terrorized by a rabid dog has become a full novel. Of course, that's not the entire novel. There's a lot of time spent setting up the characters and situations. In a lot of ways, the book really isn't about a dog with rabies, but about the people involved. The dog's owner is abusive towards his wife and kid. The woman being trapped in the car has her marriage falling apart. There's a lot of the human element. And of course, the stark horror of the gigantic Saint Bernard foaming at the mouth and attacking viciously. In a lot of ways, Cujo is one of the most horrific stories King has written, because the story, at least at the time it was written, is very believable. The threat of a rabid dog is a very real threat that hits home much more than a haunted hotel or a mythic battle between good and evil, because it could really happen. That's not to say that I'm saying it's the best story, but for pure terror, you could do a lot worse. The film version is remarkably faithful to the novel. Though the ending is changed slightly, the novel's themes are intact, with the characters ringing true and the terror at the end done very well. The movie is pretty good for its time, though I felt that it's rather dated. This sort of situation would never happen these days, so it could be hard for new viewers to relate to it. For example, the woman and the child trapped in the car, which is broken down, have no means of communication. These days, she'd probably post something on her fucking Twitter account. Something like, OMG, giant dog, please send help, LOL. Smiley face. Of course, another thing is the altered ending. It's pretty much the same, except that the kid lives, which I think lessened the impact of the whole thing in a big way. If you're a King fan, you know kids don't always fare well in his books. As a matter of fact, it pretty much sucks to be a kid in a Stephen King story. But for whatever reason, really just pick one, they had him survive. Another thing is the narrative. Although I enjoy the film, I can't help but wonder how much I would have enjoyed it if I hadn't already read the book. In the novel, there's a lot of narration from the perspective of Cujo himself, and King does a great job of believably narrating from a dog's perspective. You really feel the decline of his sickness and how Cujo goes from being a friendly dog to a walking terror. They try to convey this a bit in the film, and those of us who read the book get it. But I can't help but wonder if some other people were lost. The word rabid isn't even used until late in the film, so I could imagine someone being quite lost as to what was going on. That being said, however, a review is a reflection of my own opinion, and while I wonder about these things, they don't really affect me at all that very much. It's a decent movie, and I do recommend it. I just happen to also recommend reading the book. I give Cujo a 7 out of a possible 10.